What's up, you guys? So this video is kind of a little bit different than what I normally post on the channel. I wanted to share my experience with COVID because you might find it interesting and valuable if you have not had COVID yet. And I'm not vaccinated. I have my own reasons. I just don't want to get vaccinated. I might in the future. I'm actually considering right now, there's a new vaccine coming out called Novavax, and they're based out of Maryland in the United States. And they have like a protein-based vaccine that I might consider getting because I don't really trust the technology with the mRNA stuff. I looked into it, did some research, and I'd way rather go with like the true, tried and tested like protein-based vaccines. Like those are pretty much the vaccines that I've already had in my life that have never caused any long-term or short-term side effects or whatnot, and obviously prevent you from getting the disease. So anyway, I thought I was asymptomatic or basically immune to COVID because I had been around so many people who have had COVID and were not asymptomatic, like in my life, like in just various places. I've had friends that I regularly would hang out with who tested positive for COVID and who had long haul symptoms and the whole 9 yards, and I never caught it. So I was kind of walking around like after the face mask policy changed in Arizona, where we didn't have to wear it anymore. Like I was invincible. I was just walking around like I was invincible. You know, I do think that sometimes that like, oh, you know, I'm fine because I do like intermittent fasting. I drink kale / spinach / lettuce / celery juice like every single day, and I fast for like 20 to 24 hours a day sometimes and just eat like inside a 1 hour window. So I do all these longevity immune boosting protocols and habits that I have. So I pretty much did think I was invincible to the virus, but it turns out that was definitely not the case. Okay, so on day one, I remember it was like the third week of December. I woke up and I was feeling a little weird. I went out the previous night with my friends, and I was watching a good friend of mine actually fight. He does pro fights and he won, which is really cool. But I felt terrific that particular night. And the next day, I thought, like, oh, okay, maybe it's because it was so loud there, like my ears were ringing or something like that. But it was weird. I just had these weird sensations and I just felt tired. And then the day after that, like I felt very tired, even after having a ton of iced coffee. And then like my eyes hurt and I had a lot of fatigue, and I was like, my energy had been cut in half. I'm like, okay, this is something's up. You know, so this was day 2 particularly. And then on day 3, I started developing like chills, like aches, and I just had the fatigue, and my eyes kind of hurt, my ears felt weird, my senses felt distorted. I just felt like I knew at this point, like, okay, I think it was on day 3 that I went and I got tested, and both of the tests came back positive. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not invincible, I'm not immune, I'm not asymptomatic. I was like, oh, okay. It's kind of like a shocker, and I was like frustrated, but it's all good. Days 4 through 6, I started taking like an ibuprofen, just an Advil, because I was having backaches, and up until this point, I was in bed a lot more often because I just had no energy. Like I wasn't even trying to do my normal routine and go to the gym and go for a run and like run my business. Like I felt smoked. Like I was really, really unnaturally tired. I felt like all the energy just left my body. My appetite was just gone as well. And another thing that's worth saying, like the food just started tasting horrible. I didn't think that like losing my taste would, like, you don't lose your taste when you get COVID. Like you still taste stuff. It just tastes horrible. Like coffee tasted bad. Like really good foods I would normally eat just tasted really bad. And for some reason I was craving fruit, and luckily the fruit tasted really good. So I just got some blueberries, some kiwi, strawberries. Like I was eating fruit and like yogurt, but like wholesome foods that required you to chew were like hard for me to consume. I'll get more into that in like a minute or two. But yeah, back to what I was saying, days 4 through 6, I had like back pain. So I was taking an ibuprofen like once every 12 hours, just 200 milligrams, like an Advil, just to relieve the back pain and make it easier to sleep. Days 7 through day 12, that part was interesting for me. I don't know what strain of the virus I had, alpha, beta, delta, omicron, whatever. I don't know which one I caught because the test doesn't tell you that. But days 7 through 12 was interesting. I had developed this dry cough, and then like days 7, 8, and 9, and then days like 10, 11, 12, I had phlegm in my lungs, like actual phlegm I had to cough up. And I had to do this like 2 to 4 times a day, sometimes more. But that part was difficult, even for me. I'm like a 30-year-old man, extremely healthy, athletic, you know, does intermittent fasting. I'm the type of guy who will get out there and take resveratrol supplements as a protocol. And like I follow David Sinclair and Joe Rogan and all those guys, and like however you pronounce that. other supplement. I've tried all those things, and I do those things. And I do intermittent fasting, and I eat and drink organic vegetables every day. I'm like, that's why I think I'm invincible, basically, right? But this part of the virus was hard. So days 7 through 12, I was literally felt like I was battling. Like, I could see if someone had really bad like dieting habits, I could see why, like, they were overweight. I could see why this virus could be actually really scary. I, being a very healthy person, again, I was literally at a point where felt like I was fighting this virus, like this 5-day span. I was like coughing up hardcore. I coughed up. I was like forcing myself to cough so hard that I literally popped something like a rib, or like I don't think I had a slipped rib or popped rib, but I absolutely tore muscle in my rib for sure. Like on the right side, like by my back, I tore a muscle. So luckily, day 13 through day 17, things started getting better. And all throughout this process, I was drinking like a lot of tea and adding honey to it and trying to eat as much as possible. I didn't even have really an appetite, and I was in bed a lot. And I was just pounding vitamin C. I know you're supposed to only do so much vitamin C per day, but I was just absolutely pounding vitamin C and echinacea. So like day 13 forward, I started feeling gradually, incrementally better. By the time I got to like days 18 through 24, the only symptoms I really had at this point, like finally, like the cough had finally stopped. Like I had this dry cough through like days 7 through 12. That was horrible. Like it was hard to eat. It was hard to walk. It was hard to do anything. And I tried to be as active as possible, but this dry cough was like, it felt like my body was not within my own control. Like I would be coughing nonstop. That was the worst part of having COVID. So days 18 through 24, I think the only thing that was really happening at that point was I just like felt like I only had about 75 to 90% of my natural energy back. And like I wasn't 100% energy at like throughout that time for me. Like days 25 forward, I've been 100%. And I probably recovered a little bit faster than that. I feel like it was like after like 21 days, after like 3 weeks since I originally caught the virus, I started feeling a lot better, but not 100%. And that was like, on like day 21 or 22 or 23, I started like redesigning my YouTube studio and like painting the wall and stuff. And I actually, I don't know what I was doing. I was like twisting my body all over the place, going up and down a ladder, like moving my arms. I twisted a muscle that was really sore from coughing so hardcore when I had COVID, like forcing myself to cough to get the phlegm out because I felt like I was like dueling or battling the virus. It was crazy. That I literally tore something. Luckily, a couple ibuprofen and some ice packs like got rid of the inflammation and the swelling because I clearly tore something. And that's back to 100%. So I'm back at the gym. All around, it took me about 3 weeks to feel normal after catching the virus. I was functional after 2 weeks, but I didn't feel like outstanding until after like 3.5, 4 weeks, until a point where I feel like, okay, I'm like 100%. Like I feel really good again. So that was my experience with the virus. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you liked watching my content. Love to have you here. We're all about personal finance, investing, and entrepreneurship. And I hope that I know I've talked. One last thing I will say, other people who've done videos like this on YouTube who had gotten the vaccine seem to have way milder symptoms than I did. And if you're unvaccinated like me and you've caught the virus and recovered from it, I did read an article on a source that I trust that said you'll have the antibodies for probably the rest of your life. And your antibodies should not go down to 0%, but probably only like plateauing or reaching the lowest point of like 5 to 10% antibodies in your body from dealing with the virus. And I'm not, obviously a health professional. So that is something there's benefits to getting a vaccine for traveling. And I plan on traveling a lot more soon. In and out of this particular country. So that's why I was considering the Novavax vaccine. I haven't made up my mind on that, so don't go and get it because I think I might get it. I'm still researching it, but that's something I would probably be more likely to do. I'm not a big fan of the other vaccine options currently that have been on the market at this point. And since I was in the high risk pool and I knew I could deal with the virus if I did catch it, if I wasn't asymptomatic, just because of my mentality, my mindset, and my physical body and my beliefs. But I hope you enjoyed the content in this video, and I hope you are healthy. If you did have or experience COVID, stay safe out there. I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.